tí mo wà láyé, agbára mi kọ́. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀, ẹ bá mi kọrin. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, agbára mi kọ́, ẹlẹ́rù ni. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, agbára mi kọ́ bàbá o. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀, ayé ayé. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Ògo ni forúkọ bàbá mi. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Mímọ́ mímọ́. Ògo ni forúkọ Jésù. 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 Wọ́n ní Jésù. Oh Jésù. Oh Jésù. Oh Jésù. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀ bàbá o. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Ayé ayé nínú àwọn ọ̀run. Òkìrìkìtì. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Ọlọ́run mi, agbára mi, ẹ̀mí mi, ẹ̀kọ́ mi, ògo mi, ẹwà mi. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀ bàbá. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, agbára mi kọ́. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Sing it with me. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, agbára mi kọ́. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Dependable, dependable God. Dependable God. Dependable, dependable God. Dependable, dependable God. Dependable, dependable God. Oh, dependable, dependable, dependable God. Dependable, dependable God. You are dependable God. You are dependable God. Dependable, dependable God. Reliable, reliable God. I depend on you totally, 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 totally. Me alone can be wrong. Me alone can be wrong. Lay it down, down. Reliable, reliable God. You are reliable God. Reliable, reliable God. Reliable, reliable God. Reliable, 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 reliable God. Come on, just lift your hands and worship Him. He's a faithful God, so dependable, even when you're confused. So dependable, so reliable, so dependable. I have searched and searched and searched. I have seen no one like you. Not dependable, Baba. I'm excited about you. Hey, I'm excited about you. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I can see it anywhere. I can shout it anywhere. You are reliable, Lord. I have seen it in my life. I have seen you work in my life. I have seen your beauty, Jehovah. I have seen your beauty, Jehovah. That is why I have the confidence to project to faithfulness, Jesus. Oh, you are exalted. You are exalted. Come on and sing. You are exalted. Unlimited God. Hey, Baba, you are exalted. You are exalted. You are exalted. unlimited. Yeah, you are exalted.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. God bless you as always. Welcome to Daily Prayer for Our Children. Wherever it is that you are joining us from across the globe, we always like to welcome you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Most especially if you're um, meeting us for the very first time. We are a group of moms, dad, aunties, uncles, grandparents, naming custodians of the heritage of God, and we gather from Monday to Friday by the grace of God to declare the word of God into the life of our sons and daughters. And occasionally we have a sister or a brother who is an expert, who is gifted, who is talented in one special area that the other ones, like me, the rest of us don't have. And we tap into their expertise, we tap into their knowledge, their resources, so that we can be that word holistic. We can be um, comprehensive in all that we bring to our children, not just looking after their spiritual well-being, but every aspect of all our children. You know, that means academic, that means mental, that means every area, you know, physical well-being, emotional well-being, psychological well-being, even financially. So we try to be relevant in every area of our children's life, because it's not just about just reading the word of God, you know, morning, day, and night. Apostle Paul does say, he says, we are in the world, you know, and he's not taking us out of the world yet, but he has told us how we can live while we're still here. And that's what we're trying to make the most of. So once I've started saying, you know, that we've got all these experts, hopefully you already know I'm talking about Sister Folakemi by the grace of God. Sister Folakemi is with us again today. Uh, please be gentle. I think she's had a very long day, but even with her long day, she has still availed herself to be with us this evening. And as always, we are very grateful for her time, as we are of everybody else that comes onto this platform. We're very appreciative of their time. We do not take it for granted. So please pull up your chair. Please do get involved. Ask questions. Sister Falakemi doesn't bite. She smiles a lot, by the way. So you can ask questions. She will not bite you. Even though I said she might have had a long day, that still doesn't mean she's gonna bite your head off. So feel free. I mean, she's used to working with parents and teenagers. I think that's a very special area for her. Is a very is an aspect that she's very much interested in. So she's used to somebody like you and me. That means parents. So please feel free to ask any question during the presentation. So again, as always, I will display Sister Falakemi's details on the screen while she's doing her presentation. As always, I'm encouraging you to please hook up with her in on any of those social media. She's on Instagram. She's not that active on YouTube, but she's on Instagram. You can subscribe. I think so, when she comes, because I struggle sometimes to find her page. So I'll ask her when she's on there. So I was going to say you can subscribe as well to her page on YouTube. But I know that I have faced some challenges in the past when I tried to look for her page. But she is definitely on YouTube. She's definitely on Instagram. On Facebook, 2 pages. On Instagram, 2 pages. And on YouTube, 1 page. So you've got 5 opportunity. One is personal, obviously on Facebook. One is also personal on Instagram as well. But I think she has combined both on YouTube. So definitely you can find her and what she does by those means. So I'm going to bring her on board so that we can jumpstart the day. And there she is.
Good Evening, sis. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's an honor to be
I
here
said you will
again.
not bite.
No, I don't mind. Absolutely not.
Okay. And I also said I don't know. Do people find your YouTube page easily?
Do you know, that's a good question. I'm going to
Mm.
have to go and look it
Huh?
up. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Mm,
I tend to find that when a channel is not active
yeah, it
frequently,
doesn't come up.
it
Yeah,
doesn't come up easily. But once
yeah.
they've subscribed and they've pressed the notification button, then they will
Then
start.
it does. Yeah.
Yes.
I've only just started using it recently, so that's
Okay.
probably why. Yeah.
Mm.
I was doing private videos on it,
Okay.
on unlisted videos.
Videos.
So I've only
Okay.
just made some public. Yeah.
Public. Okay.
Mm.
The other thing as well is, okay, maybe we can talk about that. But there is, because since you like to do short videos,
Yeah.
they've actually facilitated like 60 seconds video, which is a lot easier. You know, like when Instagram started, and you can only put 60,
Yeah. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, YouTube does something like that as
Oh,
well.
well.
Yeah.
We've got lots to learn. Technology just evolves every
I'm
day.
telling you all the time, all the time. So
Uh,
here we are again. I'm going to hand over to you. Let me know. I told you I'm the apprentice today. So tell me when the apprentice is needed, and she will
okay.
gladly oblige.
Okay, good evening, everybody. It's it's an honor to be here again. We're going to round up our talk on executive function skills today, and basically, there are skills that we need to get things done. There are life skills that we need to get things done. We've gone through um, 8 or 9 of them. We've talked at length about what they are and how we can develop them. What I just want to remind us before we start is that every child is different. Some children would pick up the skills and they will develop really quickly. Some children will take their time. Other children have additional needs, so they will need a specialized kind of support to develop these skills. And basically, good evening, um,
Sister
Yomsi.
Yomzi, that's my
Sister
sister in
Yomsi,
Canada.
yeah. Sister Yomsi, good to have you here. Oh, it's probably afternoon over there. Right,
Yes.
so yeah. So disclaimer, please don't these things they're not set in stone. Um we're looking at milestones. We're looking at, just the same way as some children will walk at 9 months, some will walk at 12 months. That's the way it works, but we're just looking at how can we look out for these things and support our children. So two groups: foundational executive skills and advanced executive skills. I haven't put that on the slides. I'm just going to explain them. The foundational ones, they're the basic ones we look out for: impulse control, working memory, emotional control, flexibility, sustained attention, task initiation. Those are the ones that, when they are not in place and children get to school, the teacher starts wondering, oh, what's going on here? Or you yourself start wondering, why is this child not, be able to control their emotions? They are foundational. Now, the other group is the advanced group. I know I talked about this maybe probably in our very first or second session on executive skills. The advanced skills are organization, planning, prioritization, time management is an advanced skill. Persistence, resilience is an advanced skill. Problem solving, metacognition is an advanced skill. So when we look at the skills development by age, I want you to think about these two. Hello, sir, Mr. Femi David. I want you to think about these skills in those two groups. Foundational, as in they are the basic skills that should be in place so that the other skills can build on top of them. So if a child has not developed good working memory, their planning or their time management will be poor. If a child has not developed flexibility, they would find it difficult to problem solve. They'll probably be rigid in their, in their approach, and that cuts across children and adults. So that's just a basic introduction. So let's start with the slides.
Okay.
We'll do a whiz through what the skills are, and then we will go straight to um, the development by age. So let's get started. Okay, next one we've talked about. So we're looking at it by age. So we've said several times that executive function skills form the foundation for learning. For the children to learn appropriately in school, they need these skills. Okay, very important. Let's remember that. That's why we're looking at them. They start forming soon after birth. They're not fully formed until 25. Next slide. Okay, that's one of the skills. Planning is an advanced skill. Okay, ability to figure out an organization is an advanced skill. Next
Next.
one, please. Yes. Task initiation, starting the task on time is it's a foundational skill, it's a basic skill. Next one. Time management is an advanced skill. It's an advanced skill. So if you want someone to be able to have time management, they must have impulse control, they must have good working memory, emotional control, flexibility, sustained attention, task initiation. So time management builds, and the advanced skills, they build on those other skills. Let's move on. Attention is a basic skill. Okay, sustained attention, ability to pay attention for a short period of a specific period of time, depending on age, is a basic, is a foundational skill. Next one. Problem solving is an advanced skill. Okay, how to use what you know, or metacognition, how to use what you know to work out what you don't know. Okay, and it begins to grow best. It grows really fast between 12 and 15. That's when children can actually become aware of how to sort themselves out. And that's the age where we have a lot of clashes with teenagers, because they are beginning to assert some independence and recognizing that they can actually solve problems themselves. That's where some of our clashes come from. Metacognition is an advanced skill, and it's a good one to have. Let's move on. Working memory, it's a basic skill, it's a foundational skill. It's important that children, as soon as they begin to grow and mature, are able to hold bits of information to be able to do what they need to do, to be able to get up and go and get something from the kitchen because you've asked them one item, two items, and it progresses like that. Next one. Self control. Very important. Very important foundational skill. Very important. Ability to regulate yourself, your thoughts, your actions, and not blow your top, and not, just let everything go at once. It starts from as soon as the children begin to mature. By age one children begin to talk, they're already beginning to show some elements of self-control. So it's a foundational skill. Next one, please. Perseverance. Perseverance, it's an important one. It's an important one. Ability to maintain focus, and it's an advanced skill. So sometimes when we have younger children between the ages of 1 and there's probably 10 or 11, they might not have as much grit as sometimes we just want them to be strong, but perseverance is actually an advanced skill. It builds up over time. Next slide, please. Now, this flexibility is the one we didn't get a chance to talk about
Mm.
last time, so
Mm.
that's why I've left it on. Ability to adapt to new situations, ability to deal with change. Now, when that flexibility isn't there, you see outbursts. You see, there's a lot of course, the opposite of flexibility is rigidity.
Mm-hmm.
So, children who cannot, and adults who cannot, they don't want you to change anything. They don't want you to move their stuff. They don't want you to change the time you do things. They just want things done a certain way. Now, bear in mind, we're talking about those of us who have no developmental challenges or additional needs. So, being able to be flexible, it's a really important skill, and it's a basic, it's a foundational skill. Being able to adapt to change and not blow your top and not complain and whinge and go on and on, it's a really important skill that we need to develop in our children, and we need to model it. We need to let the children know that I haven't been able to do this because this has happened, and let them understand that life happens. You will see that some children, they would have a meltdown because you promised them something and it didn't happen, or they like blue, and you go to the shop and there's no blue left, blue of any article, and then you say, oh, let's have a green. And for some children, it's a complete, they can't deal with it. We need to teach them these skills so that they understand that sometimes they get what you want, many times you don't. So, and to warn them ahead that it's things are going to be different tomorrow. I'm going to drop your brother off first at school, or we're going to go to your sister's game first, so they know ahead of time. And then we praise them, high rate of praise. When I talk about praise, I'm talking about sincerely identifying what they have done, not just well done. It's I like the way you put your shoes away neatly. I like the fact that you make your bed every morning. It's what they should do, but when you recognize that they're doing things, it gives them more awareness of the fact that there are things they are getting right. Support them to self-advocate. What do I mean by that? Support them to speak up for themselves, to explain themselves. Okay. If they say something and you don't understand what they're saying, say to them, can you explain what you mean by that? Because sometimes we assume we understand what they're saying and we might not. And that's what, because that, of course, that causes miscommunication between adults. More talk less of children who are in a different world from us. Okay, so when they say, oh, it's not fair, I'd say to them, tell me more. Tell me what do you mean by that? Tell me more. Okay, so that they can explain exactly to you what they're feeling, and then you can be able to unpick it for them, so they can understand that what, sometimes you just have to accept that you don't get your way. Okay. And when they refuse, you see, people talk about terrible twos. They talk about terrible things. They talk about all sorts of things. We need to get to the root of refusals. When children refuse and dig their heels in, what's going on the inside of them? Traditionally, we would think, oh, they're being obstinate, they're being rude, they're being unreasonable. But basically, what are the root of refusal? Is fear and uncertainty. If they are not sure about what is the interpretation of a situation, if they are unsure about their ability to succeed, they probably say no and dig their heels in. So fear, um, embarrassment can cause them to refuse. And instead of us pushing, you must do it, I would rather we have a conversation around, tell me what's bothering you. So, if for instance, off the top of my head, you, I'm trying to think of an example of a refusal. When children say no, fortunately, mine are a bit older now. I'm trying to remember. You tell them to do something and they say
Maybe
no.
you ask them to pick up their toys or something like that.
Thank you. Thank you, sis. You ask them to pick up their toys and they say no. I would get to their level and say, could you explain that to me? Tell me, tell me more, because why is a difficult one. Tell me, what is it that's bothering you about picking up your toys? Many times they want to play more, which is why we should give them, we should give them heads up. You're going to have to, your playtime is nearly finished. So that's why, this is where routines come in. If they know that this is not endless play, this is play that is timed. Once nearly time to tidy up, you're already saying to them, we've got 5 minutes, so they have a heads up. They know they're going to tidy up soon. So it's preparing them ahead of time that there's going to be a change. When the change comes, it's not too sudden, and we can get to the bottom of refusal. Sometimes, of course, being children, they will refuse, and then we can remind them that, remember, the time is up, and then we've got to do the next thing. So that's it about flexibility. It's something we have to teach them, and we have to help them to adapt to changes. Right. So we've talked about all the skills now. Let's look at them by age. Next slide, please.
Okay.
And if I don't see any questions. Good evening,
Not
everybody.
yet.
I see
I know you're going to ask questions
you.
here.
I know
So,
you. I know you.
so me, I'm not going to say. I'll just keep
Right.
zip.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I've deliberately put all of the age boundaries in, so we can see them and think about where our children are. I think some of us have done the questionnaire,
Yes.
and we're looking at where are the gaps. One thing I want us to remember is, in as much as we're looking at where the weaknesses are, we also need to focus on where the strengths are, and help them develop their strengths as well. Let's not focus all the time on the weaknesses. Now I'm going to look at the boundaries in reverse order. I'm going to start from 19 plus. The reason is, I want us to, when we talk about the band in red, I want you to think about that child, especially if they are under 19, and think whether what we are expecting is too high for them.
Okay.
I hope that makes sense. Let's go back to the size, because I'm going to use that
Are
to
you
guide
saying
me.
if we're setting too, the expectation is too high?
Expectation is too high.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm going to talk majorly on the red band, and then we will filter it down and see if actually we are putting the bar too low
Too
or too
high.
high.
Okay.
For planning, 19 plus, they're basically university ready or already in uni. They can develop and maintain multiple plans at once. So they can plan how they're going to, you know, go and attend a friend's party. They can plan how they and do the shopping. They can plan how they need to, get in touch with a teacher. All of those things, they can do them at once. Now, imagine a 12-year-old. A 12-year-old hasn't got those skills. They have not got those skills. They are still at the stage where they are trying to find their feet. They have hormones beginning to come into play. They have, okay, looks like I'm having, are we okay?
Yeah, we're fine. Don't worry.
Okay, we're fine. Okay, right. So when we look at what a 19-year-old plus should be able to do in comparison to what a 12-year-old should do, for the 12-year-old, they need the guide. They need you to be there to teach them those skills. So basically, at that age, between 12 and 5 and 12, you're playing games that require thinking ahead and planning. You're playing board games, like we said. You can see that all these things are coming back. So they're following a planned out guide. By 13, which is usually like year 8, am I right? Year 9. Oh, have I lost track now?
It
11,
depends on
12.
what age,
It depends
because
on what,
11 plus, they start at 11.
yeah.
Wow, you are the
They start at
experts here.
11. 11, 12, 13, yeah. So year 8, year 9, you know, they are more independent. So they have project work, they have more homework. You can see that the skills are building up on themselves. So long-term goals. If you're talking to a 13-year-old or about GCSE and plans to study and all of that, some of them would have got there. They will be already thinking ahead long term. But most of them just look at you like, what are you talking about? I've spoken to so many year 11s. I mean, that's 16 or so, and they're always like, "Oh, I wish I had listened in year 9. I wish I'd listened and planned more." And the joke would always be, well, even if you tell the year 9s now that they really need to focus, they'll just think, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Well, don't worry. We'll sort that out later." Can
Mm,
you see? But
mm,
by the time they get to that point, the maturity sets in. There's no, most of the time when you go into a year 11 class, they're calm. The reality is beginning to set in. The
mm-hmm.
planning skills is, they're beginning to understand, there's life. But you can't force them to get there. Interestingly, you have some children who are 12 who are already, you know,
That's right.
at
They're
that
already
level.
there. Mm-hmm.
They're already there. So it's us now understanding where our children are and helping them to get where they need to go. So I hope this makes sense.
Definitely.
Okay. Right, let's move on.
The only thing I'm going to ask
Yeah.
Sister Folakemi is
Yeah.
this: this age that we're looking at,
Yeah.
they are the age that the experts are telling us
Mm,
this is what is supposed to happen at that age.
mm.
We're not looking at this age because, oh, is an age of responsibility or is a legal age. This is the
No.
age that the expert, the psychologist, the psychiatrist, or whoever has done the study, and they're
Yeah.
saying at this age,
Mm.
this is what should be happening. I think,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a band.
Mm,
It's a band. You can see that even by the time they go into uni, some of them at 18, they're not quite there yet.
no, there's a lot of them not quite there.
They're not quite there. So and we know that, we know when we see the gaps. We just don't, and it's pretty scary. So it's like we just got to do the work at that point and support them and make sure that, we're checking in and making sure that, they're not just drifting, because a lot of them go to uni at 18 and they're just drifting. They're just not ready.
Mm.
But yeah.
No comment. No comment.
Okay. So yeah, so let's remember that it's what are the triggers of maturity levels in children?
I'll display it on the screen for you.
Yes. Triggers for maturity level. Like I said at the beginning, each child is different and every home situation is different. One major thing that affects how the children attain these things is the temperament and all other factors that we've talked about at the beginning. So, maturity level, sometimes we think what the children in Africa show is maturity. What I think sometimes they show is a learned a learned way of doing things, not an internalized skill. They have kind of imbibed it and they're doing it. I find that that's not necessarily developing the skill. That's them learning to fall in line, if that makes sense. Some of them haven't got the practical skills to now use that independently when they are by themselves. Um,
But couldn't somebody
Maturity.
argue?
Mm,
Couldn't
yeah,
somebody argue the case that
yeah.
practice make perfect? So you're
Mm,
forcing me to do this thing, which is, I
yeah.
think you're trying to be polite that you're coming from. So
Yeah.
basically, it's imposed, it's enforced. And
Mm,
so I wake up and I do it. And that's why you're saying that when I'm not on my own, of my own free volition, would I do it? But somebody, like I said, somebody could argue the case that obviously, um, like I said, practice make perfect. The more you do
mm,
something, it become habitual.
mm,
So you know that's the right thing or mechanical. I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah. With certain skills, with certain things like housework or repetitive skills, it's good training. It shows up. But with application skills, where you have to transfer the skill into a different situation, then you need to have imbibed that skill properly. You need to understand that in planning, it means I have a long-term goal. I have something I'm looking forward to. They're two different things. There's skills that we need for daily living, planning skills. Okay, I know how long it takes to cook. I can cook. But then, do I know how much time I need to allocate to planning my studies? So I know, just copying the brain mapping of absolutely using our own thinking pattern, being able to apply it to any situation. So both ways, I think we just need that balance. And you need to understand your child and where they are. It's an individual thing. And sometimes being obedient and compliant does not mean maturity.
At
It
all.
just means you are staying out of trouble. You are staying under the radar. So equally, it happens in Africa. Children go to university and they go completely, you know, off the rail. And they've been good. They've been all right at home. So is what they
I don't
learn
think
from
it's
the
Africa
environment.
alone.
Yeah,
It
they're
happens here
everywhere.
hugely.
Yeah,
Um,
Okay.
and I think that's one of the reasons why university prefer mature students.
Mm,
Because
mm,
even though I know people have a huge stigma about gap year,
yeah,
from my personal experience, and what I've heard, university prefer you to be more mature than to be coming directly from A levels. They call you mature.
absolutely.
It's not mean you're too old for the class, and it doesn't mean because you are
Mm,
married or something.
mm,
But they believe that within that 1 year, which is what you're saying, Sister Falakemi, life has not been imposed on you. You
mm,
hopefully within that 1 year you have put into implementation the skills that you have gathered along the way. Maybe you've
mm,
volunteered, maybe you've traveled the
mm.
world, maybe you've
True.
taken a job, something that you've done to enhance the skills, not just like, oh, you've got to go to school and then you woke up, you
And
went
there
to
you
school, you were
go.
dropped, you
Yeah.
were picked,
Mm,
those kind of things. So I think that's some of the things that
yeah.
I think you're trying to get
Yeah.
across to us.
Yeah.
And I think,
Absolutely.
yeah, what my aunt is saying there, I don't think it's a question. I think she's
Yeah.
agreeing
I
that
agree
the
with her.
environment, yeah, that the environment is a shaping or contributing.
Mm.
Um, there's something else here.
Application skills. We have mechanical engineers who can't apply the theory to make cars. Excuse me. Absolutely. So we need to, excuse me. So skills need to be transferable. We
Mm,
need to teach them how to transfer skills to every situation in life. So planning, and that you can it encompasses everything, going shopping, you know, getting ready to travel, everything in life. I'm the queen of lists. I like to have, things in order. So it's learning how to apply that to, okay, I need to cook this. This is what I need. How many children have gone to uni and they're calling their mom, oh, mom, I want to cook this. What should I buy? Because they haven't paid attention to what you were doing. Right. So let's move.
transferable skills is
Transferable skills.
one of the things that it's now very paramount in the work industry. That's why
Mm,
now you can do biochemistry, but you can still work in a bank.
mm,
Transferable
mm,
skills.
mm,
So
mm.
it's definitely something that we should be building on, like you're saying.
I should.
Okay, so we return back
Right, so
to
planning, many adults need to hone that skill.
hmm,
Planning is an advanced skill, being able to prioritize. That's why, you know, the younger ones, they can't prioritize. They prefer to play their video games. So before they're 19, you have to be on the case. Like they have to have a schedule. They can't prioritize, they can't plan ahead. They just, it's a pleasure of the moment. So we need to teach them that. And I always say, relentless routines. They must have routines. That's what will help them to learn how to plan. Oh my goodness, I thought we were going to move fast today. Let's go to the next one.
not when there's questions. You can only move fast when there is no question. Uh,
So next
and there's
slide.
still more conversation for you, by the way, but
Okay, yes.
maybe
I
in the next
personally
segment.
experienced
Can
that
you see
studying
it? Do you want me to
engineering in
display
Nigeria.
it?
Yes, I can see. Personally experienced that studying engineering in Nigeria and going to the UK to do masters. I just crammed and poured. Yes. And I began to understand the application. Planning should be seen as part of the job. Absolutely, absolutely. And most of us, when we move abroad to study, it's a shock to our system because you are now having to apply the knowledge. You're now having to, show the skills of what you've learned. You are learning to, prove yourselves. And a lot of our children who are growing up in diaspora actually pick up those skills. We just need to, help them to hone the skills. They are there. They are there because they're planning projects, they're planning group presentations. Most of us didn't do things like that in uni. We just did our exams, we just did whatever coursework we had to do, and we submitted them. So yeah, it's interesting that, yeah, those skills, they are important. Let's move on, sis. Next slide. Planning. Oh wow. I like that. Imposter syndrome. It will deal with you. You will just feel like you're not good enough. Um, yeah, you're right. You're right. It can be quite challenging to study abroad after the way we've been taught. But most of us have adjusted, and we've gone to uni here. Most of my friends that went back to school, those of them that did first degrees actually ended up with first class. The maturity that you were talking about is they already got the skills to adjust and pick up. And we always joke like, this is adult education, but it helps. Let's move on. What's our next skill? Okay. Okay, right. So, organization, very closely tied to planning, ability to maintain a neat, orderly system for daily tasks. Now, even the 19-year-olds are not doing it. Not to talk of the to 5 to 18-year-olds, to reorganize when the areas of their life get out of hand. Many adults can't even do that. But that's the aim. That's where we want organization to get to. But for the younger ones who are not yet at this level, organization is actually an advanced skill. So when we say a child is disorganized, what level of disorganization are we looking at? Are we looking at them being able to reorganize their life when things get out of hand? They don't have the skill. Like when they have too much homework, they need us to be there to help them organize it. They haven't got the organization skills. They haven't got the time management skills to be able to, like I said, prioritize which one comes first, which one comes next. There are a few exceptions to the rules. Those children who are really good and they pick up all those things, but in the majority of them will need you to help them organize themselves, to follow the complex schedules they have, to follow the school schedule combined with home schedule, combined with their sports, combined with extracurricular. That's why we're involved, because they can't do it by themselves. Okay, systems for organizing their schoolwork. Which homework do they have on which day? When does it get handed in? This is how we can help them to get organized. What do we do on what days? When my children were growing up, Friday was washing day. So I'm walking through the door, I'm handing out instructions, load the whites, because they went to a school that wore white shirts. Load the whites, we wash the whites first, and then we wash the colors, and then I'm always talking about my laundry because I'm particular about laundry. I have three laundry baskets. We're teaching them organization. One's for white, one's for colored, one's for darks. If you put your clothes in the wrong place, good luck to you, especially if you put your light in the dark. So we teach them to put to put um to put things in place to help them, so that they know that this is how we do things. If it's their turn to cook, have they, have they organized everything they need to use for cooking? If they need to go to football or to sports, what day is the sports? When do they wash their stuff? When do they make sure it's ready? Not the few minutes before they're looking for their boots. No, we will help them to put, things in place so that they are organized. They don't just suddenly pick up the organization skill. They don't pick it up. Even if you are the most organized person, like with there's a proverb in my language that, you know, so that the child of the strong person doesn't become lazy. That's the literal translation. You can be very organized. You have to teach it to them. Some children will pick it up. Others just need you to spell it out in black and white. That, we'll do it like this, and back to routines, relentless routines. Do this and do this and do this. If I was able to show you my fridge, I have menu. I have recipes, not a menu. I have recipes written all over. Not your standard recipes, though. Small pot of jollof rice. How many cans of plum? How many onions? How many? It's stuck there. So if it's your turn to cook, it's there. Go and look. There was a day I was away somewhere. My daughter was like, "Oh, I want to make pancake." I said, "Oh, I have a really good recipe. I don't know if I wrote it down." She found it on the fridge. So things like that. And we can do the same with their schoolwork. We can do the same with everything they need to do. Help them to put, structures in place, and let us model it as well. Let us model it. Let them see us, organizing ourselves. Because if we're not organized, we can't expect them to be organized. If we're not showing them how we are moving things around flexibly to accommodate everything that's happening, we can't expect it of them. So that's organization. It's a big one, but it's a high order skill. It's an advanced skill. It's an advanced skill. So, and it starts from basic things like from 5 to 12, telling stories, sequencing them, letting them know that things come in order. Checklists. Write a list of things they're supposed to do. Stick it on the fridge. Stick it on the door. Have a board for chores. Let them tick off what they've done. What day do they do what? What day do they do what? When my children were growing up, I had days for different things because it was hard to fix everything, to put everything on the weekend. So maybe Wednesday was when you scrubbed the bath, and Thursday was when you did. I don't know. I can't remember what we did on Thursday. Friday was when you did the washing, and Saturday was general cleaning. So we can't put everything on one day and expect to be able to do it all. So we need to model it for them. I see a comment with the cooking. My daughter is always asking for measurements. I'll say eyeball. I will start being, yes, we have to be intentional about, helping them. We learned by eyeballing, but I think it just helps. It makes your life easier when you say to them, 2 cans of plum, 1 onion, two whatever, and you're done. Then they themselves, after a while, can just do those things instinctively because they're practiced. The thing is, they're not getting as much practice as we did. I started cooking at 7. I started cooking at 7. So yeah, are you laughing at the eyeball
I'm actually laughing
comment?
at the last sentence. I put things into my ancestor says it is enough. And that was what we did. Ah, in fact, we will even get insulted in the process. Can you not think? Do you not have
Mm,
common sense? Can you
a
not
common
see?
sense, like, we can
I've
make life
never done this
easier.
thing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. How much do I
We can
put in? Is it enough? Is it?
just we can make
Yeah.
life easier for ourselves without you know without having to make it so laborious and complicated. For me, it just made my life easier because that's just, maybe I guess that's the way my brain works. And from it means that I can walk away and say, that's what you've got to do. You've got what you need.
Mm. Honestly, it's interesting because I'm just quickly skimming through what you've written there,
Yeah,
and I'm seeing, because I was going to say that even though you're saying these are all advanced skills, some of these things are advanced skills, but I'm
yeah,
seeing that even from what you've told us from the beginning when we started this journey,
yeah.
things during pregnancy, things during the early years of the child are already building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
are all yes, obviously, as they progress and as they grow, their advanced skills. But those, what I'm trying to say is, I don't think those advanced skills come overnight. They just don't arrive.
They don't.
Hello, you're
No,
19, I'm here.
no,
So
no.
it's
They
sort of
start
thing.
from the beginning. Can you
Okay, so
see the toddler understands categories and patterns?
exactly.
So when you're sorting out socks, they are helping you to pair the socks. They know where you put the underwear. They know where, things like that. They
Mm,
already know the process. This is where we keep our toys.
mm. Which is really crucial because even oh, I was going to say, you probably know it better than me. In reception or in nursery, after every game, they have containers, colors, they're all labeled, they're all color coded. Even
Mm-hmm.
your coat, when you come, your peg,
Yeah,
your
your
color,
pegs, labels,
so
yes.
all those things. I think the issue is many of us didn't do it before they went into nursery, and then when they come home we still don't continue it. We just,
Mm.
so the only place they gain this kind of organization is only when they're in school. Hence the
Mm.
reason, Sister Folakemi, why I think some children will rebel,
Mm.
because what is not done at home, when you try to enforce it on the outside, so okay, I only spend a few hours with you, you're trying to force me to do this thing, but where I spend the bulk of my life, nobody is asking me to
Nobody
do
bothers
anything.
me. Hmm.
I don't know. Am I making sense?
I do. Yeah, you are. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so the ability to want to say, so who are you to be telling me what to do? Because when I'm at home, and that's another thing I wanted to bring out. I think we do our children a lot of disservice from what you're saying here, especially if we're. Please forgive me. I'm not stigmatizing anybody, but if you're a single father or a single mother, and you've got so much to do, instead of waiting for a child to pick up a toy, you will just pick it up yourself and move on.
But I think most parents do that. I see
Oh, okay.
parents come to the
Ah,
door at school and take the child's bag. And I'm just like,
okay.
is their bag? Why are you taking it? They should learn to
Is the
hold their
time,
bags.
is the rush.
Like, hurry up. We
Yeah,
jump
hurry
in
up.
and
Yeah.
sort things for
Yeah,
them.
because I've got to move on to the next thing, or I've got to
Yeah,
pick up
yeah.
your brother
Mm,
in the nursery or something like that.
mm.
So,
Or
and I think that's what a lot of us, because I experienced this in some of my classes with the children, instead of showing the child how to do it, they
mm,
jump in
and
and do
get it,
it.
like what I said earlier, that so that the child of the strong person does not turn out
That's right.
lazy, does not
Mm,
turn out a slothful person, because we and then perfectionism as well on the side, on the part of the parents. They won't do it well, so I'll do it. I'll
that's
do it, or they
right.
won't do it quick enough.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that from my mom. She was like, when we were growing up, her friends used to think, your children do a lot of things. She'd be like, oh, they have to do it. If you wash the plate, you don't wash it well, she will tell you to go and wash it again.
I
If you
dumped it back
sweep,
in the
you don't
sink.
do it well, she would tell you to,
Go and do it again.
my mom would practically remove her shoes and, feel the sand
That
with her
sounds like my
feet, and
mother-in-law.
you and you would have to resweep. So basically, she would say to us, you have to learn to do it properly. So for most of us, then we don't want to stress the children. I don't know what kind of stress, learning to do things properly is. We don't want them to get upset. Children will get upset because they are naturally, they want to have their way. They want to do things their own way. We are the ones that put the checks and balances and say, it's time to stop. And this is where you put your toys. Sometimes even in school, you get children, you say, give me that bag, or hand your book to me, and they throw it at you. And I'm like, you're not doing that. You're going to pick it up and hand it to me. So we put the boundaries in place and help them to move forward. And of course, if, like you said earlier, if children are not used to being organized, if they're not used to being told what to do, they come to school and you say to them, tidy your table. They look at you like, what? I don't do any tidying. In fact, we have a lot of meltdowns when it comes to tidy up time. And we see children who do the avoiding the tidying up time. That's when they want to go to the toilet because
Toilet.
they don't want to get involved. They don't
Mm,
feel like they're responsible
responsible.
for
Mm, mm,
anything. That's a sense of an entitlement. It's come from people doing everything for them.
mm.
So as we need to look at age related tasks and age related mal you know milestones for them to be able to do things around the house and for
Okay, so you
themselves as
bring me
well.
nicely to the next question then, because that was what I was
Yeah.
going to doing things around the house. So I'm a firm believer in giving chores to my children as early as possible. Okay. So because it sounds like this is falling into this organization and
Mm,
routine that you're
mm,
talking about. I'm that person. I'll buy a stool, I'll put it by the sink so that you can reach the tap and be able to wash your spoon, wash your cup. Don't wait for me. I'll buy you whatever is needed for you to be able to do those chores, basically.
yeah.
Start by emptying the bins in the house. Is your
Yeah.
duty. When you wake up in the morning, you empty all the bins and, those kind of things. So beginning to take a responsibility for something, because I'm always
Yes.
saying it's our home, it's not a hotel. There's no room service. So if there's no room service, that means we have to do everything.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean the person that's been doing this is you're pooping in your nappy has to continue to do it. So
Mm.
there comes a time you need to. So will am I see that you put your hand up. Is that
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If we keep doing it for them, like Auntie just said, they would not learn. They would not learn how to do it. Okay. Um, oh yeah, sing a song. We sing in school, in the nursery. You sing songs. It's tidy up time.
mm-hmm.
Put your
Mm-hmm.
this. In fact, most of my classes, I had a funky tidy up song that I would play from YouTube, and they'll be dancing, and then they'll be tidying up. You know, we need to teach them. We absolutely need to teach them. Okay, we can't keep doing everything for them. They need to know. Like when mine were young, and they were wearing white to school. I bought a spray, um, pre-wash spray, and they had to spray their collars and their sleeves when they took off their uniform, just so we could keep them. So I didn't have to come home and do that. So they'll spray that and put it in the washing basket. That's their job to do. They will make sure that the two pairs of socks go into the wash, because I'm not going to look for your socks if you haven't put both of them in. And little things like when they were both wearing the same color of socks, just buying one set that had a color band or something, so they were separate.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to think about ways to make our lives easier and things they can do. Okay, pick up your plates, put it in the sink. We have children in school who will finish eating lunch in the dining room, get up and walk away. What does that tell me? It tells me that child is used to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Mm-hmm.
have children who you would have to say go and play, because they will not go, they will be tidying up
Mm-hmm.
everything, which
Mm-hmm.
tells me that child is used to tidying up. So we do need to, age appropriate tasks, and I think there are lots of lists. There's a Montessori list that I've seen around about age appropriate, tasks that children need to do, that they can do around the house. It's important that we teach them that.
And I think activities as well. If they're into activities, then they need to get the activity stuff ready
Oh
in
yes.
time. So
Oh
if it's
yes.
swimming, if it's judo, if it's gymnastics and all those
Mm,
kind of things,
yeah.
learning to put your swimming stuff, make sure they're washed.
Yeah.
Once you're coming back from the pool, it's going in the washing machine or in the dirty clothes, like you said. Obviously, sometimes the towel has got chlorine, so you can't mix it with other stuff
Mm,
and all those
that
kind
would
of
go
things.
into the
I
washing
think
machine
again
straight
that,
away.
yeah, yeah, those are
Mm,
organizations that I think really does um enhances or home in all those things that you're
yeah.
talking about. So
Mm,
the more they're active, the more they involve, obviously, the more they will home in those skills as they grow up.
yes.
I think that
Yes.
would be
Yeah.
um
The more organized we are, the easier it
mm.
is for us to, get them into the system. But if we ourselves are not organized, it's hard.
So let me put this hard question on the table.
Mm.
So if they don't get their socks ready and there's no clean socks tomorrow, what do you do? And you know there's not going to be a clean socks
No,
tomorrow, and they
there's a
didn't
s-
do.
there's a certain age where you can let it slide. And
Mm-hmm.
I probably have told you my story.
Mm.
When my son was in year 8 and my daughter started year 7, I said to them, I'm not going to walk through the door to remind you about washing, especially since you are the ones that have uniforms that need to be washed. I said it the first week. The second week, I came in and I reminded them. The third week, sealed lips. They are year 7 and year 8. As far as I'm concerned, they're old enough to look after and get their uniforms ready for school. Year 6, I probably wouldn't do. I probably would insist in year 6, and they would still have their schedule of things to do, and I'll point it to them. But by that time, I felt that they could at least walk through the door on a Friday and sort out their uniforms. And it happened once. That once that I didn't say anything and they forgot. On Sunday evening, there was mayhem, and I kept a straight face. And for the next how many years that they wore uniform, we didn't have a
It
conversation
never
about it
happened
anymore.
again. Lesson learned.
Learned there was no need for a discussion, there was no need to fight. So that's when parents fight. I'm just like, you're stressing yourself. Just set the record straight and walk away. They will sort themselves out when it comes to basic things like that. Yes.
So you're basically showing them the consequence of their
Mm.
action.
Yes.
So even though it sounds like, mom wants me to do it this way, da, 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 but there's a reason why we
There's a
want you
reason.
to do it that
Mm.
way.
There's a reason.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Um Again, our 1 hour is gone before we even got, well, at least we got to 14. We give God all the
We've
praise.
done, we've done two skills.
you know uh,
Mm.
there's so much to cover, because
Mm.
literally we're learning things that we probably should have learned before we started having children, and now we've had them.
God help us.
Yeah, and now we're learning them along the way, obviously. And like you said, it's never too late for us to
Mm.
learn all these things and be willing to learn and willing to um wherever we've made mistake or we've fallen short,
Just, pick up on.
yeah,
Yeah.
to be able to make the adjustment. But something, you pointed something out again about these skills laying the foundation for higher institutions, self semi-independence, whatever you want to call it. Because even one, and I'm sure you probably have this first-hand experience more than me, I found a lot of children, Sister Folakemi, a lot of children, most of them predominantly boys, I have to say. That's my personal experience. That parents did not help them to understand these crucial skills that you're talking about. And then GCSEs is staring them in the face.
Mm, mm,
Okay, that
mm. Sis, I think you're right. The challenges of raising the boy child, and how would I put it? Sometimes we go down the the negative cultural route of saying, "Oh, leave it's a boy, leave him alone, leave him alone," and I mean, God bless my mom. I learned it from her. In our house growing up, there were no boys, there were no girls. Everybody
that's
did
right.
everything.
That's right.
Everybody did everything. And we still have this joke with my siblings and I. My brother, he used to complain when we were at home. Then he came home and said, everybody in Independence Hall in UI, when he's cooking, they'll be tracing the aroma of
The food that is cooking.
who the person cooking in this hall.
Mm,
So we were like, my mom was like, okay, so what if I did force you to cook?
mm,
you know so I mean, growing up, of course, we had families where only their mom did the cooking. In my
mm,
house, there was no boy there. Everybody cooked. You were on the rota to do the things you needed to do. So we need to disabuse our minds from this traditional, oh, boys, the girls should do the cooking, the boys should. What's that? The world has gone beyond that completely,
mm-hmm,
and
mm,
we need to start working on our boys from the word go as we're training the girls. And of course, this ridiculous thing of you're training the girls for their husband's house. What
oh,
about the boys for their
for
wives?
their wife's house.
Excuse me, my girl that I've trained, is he
Thank
going to marry
you.
that boy that
And there
you
you
haven't taught
are. Sister
anything?
Yomzi has answered your question again.
We have to train all of them. We have to train all of them. And but my son is always joking. If I say, what have you said? Mom, my fried rice is legendary. And I've said, okay, did you tell your friends that that legendary fried rice was from lockdown? You must cook. As in, I made the food table and I walked away. As you are cooking.
Today.
Yeah, enough. So if we don't, because that lockdown, I realized, I don't know how much cooking these people can do. All right, so you're responsible for feeding your dad. You are better making nice. Otherwise, he will say, hey, who cooked this food? He will look at us, who's cooking? I said, yes, I'm free. So yes, we just have to make sure that we are not saying, people say, oh, you shouldn't domesticate. What does domesticate mean? Excuse me. Everybody will end up living in the house, whether your house or somewhere else.
That's
So we
right.
all need to be domesticated. We all need to learn these things. Boys need to sweep. Boys need to clean, and they need to cook. So do girls.
Mm,
We need to
mm.
teach them. We need to
Definitely. And
teach
like
them.
Sister Yomzi says, girls become rehabilitation centers because
Oh,
the emphasis
yeah,
was on the training of the girls,
yeah.
you know. And as always, I maintain, my auntie says exactly, we shouldn't treat the boys differently, that
Yeah.
everybody should be domesticated. If I can borrow your words, everybody should be domesticated, including the pets. Everybody is domesticated so we can all do the chores
We
around the
can.
house.
We can.
Honestly, I think one of the things parents don't realize, like you said, is that it gives you freedom.
Oh,
What you fail to teach your children at an early stage will keep you, quote and
he'll keep
unquote,
you awake.
enslaved for a longer period of
Yeah.
time. But if the quicker you teach them, it will give everybody liberty. Everybody knows what is doing what, who does what, who's responsible. And something, Sister Falakemi, this who does what is not written in stone.
No.
We one of the things I also advocate is know when to cover somebody, know when to jump in. That's very
Absolutely.
important. Because, for
Absolutely.
instance, let's say, okay, you're responsible for putting out the dustbin this evening, but you've got an early morning and you're going to bed early. Okay, don't, because of, oh, it's so's job, you're not going to do it, or you're going to go
No, no,
disturb.
no.
No, jump in. That's the moment you jump in and let that person, because it's like a one off, or for the next one
Yeah,
month or something,
yeah. And
that ability. And I think parents, once they delegate, I think this is a dangerous line, if I can say, that once they've allocated or it's a chore to somebody, it's like, come rain, come whatever, you must do that thing. So
ah,
you've got
well,
exams, that's none of
yeah.
my business. You still got to do it.
No.
You
Yeah, we,
and I
we need
think
to be
that's where, yeah,
flexible.
I think you
Yeah,
get
we
what I'm
need to.
saying.
Yeah.
I think
When
that's
when they've
where.
got exams, I would do the cooking. I'll do the washing. I won't bother them.
Exactly.
I
I
won't
mean,
bother them.
I just generally say, even if they're wanting to jump in, I say, no, don't do it.
Just
For
yes,
that
yeah.
duration of that period, you're off. That's not your work anymore. Just concentrate on that area where you are concentrating on for the time being. And I think it's worth stressing that, because I think that's where the element of, like you said, domesticated comes in, because once they're doing it, it's like they've always got to do it, nobody else is got to do it.
I
No,
know.
sometimes somebody is
It's yeah.
tired.
We can yes, we can always. I mean, it's interesting. My too. Um, when we eventually sorted out, okay, we were swapping around. We did all kinds. There were times when we were trying things out. You do the kitchen, you do. Eventually, I just found out. In fact, it took me quite a long time to find out that they had divided the house into two. You do the upstairs, I do the downstairs. They stopped doing this week that, this week that. No, they just sorted this. They simply said, oh, the boys, he does the bathroom better, so you do the upstairs, I'll do the downstairs and the kitchen. And that's because I had given them, they had developed the skills. Now they were able to work together to say, no, you know what, you do this better, you do it. It's done. My own is, it's done. It doesn't matter who does it. So giving them the skills and the freedom to be able to be flexible with it,
Hmm. Did you
it's
see?
important.
Archbishop said the house girl was watching TV while they were doing the job.
Do you know, I've read something like that today as well.
Yeah,
Somebody was
yeah,
talking now. Where was it? I can't remember. Interesting. But
yeah.
those moms were they had visions. They
Honestly,
had they
and
had
God bless their
they were
soul. God bless them
visionaires.
for
Like,
what they did, because
yeah.
honestly, um, everybody, regardless of who we are, is all our house, and it's
It
something. But
is.
obviously, in the
It
process,
is.
Sister Folakemi, you are telling us that we're impacting their life, we're equipping their life, and
Yes.
we're helping them for when they're going to leave the nest, when they're going to
Mm.
go and stand and
Mhm.
start
Mm.
conquering the whole world.
And it
Um,
cuts across. Sorry to
mm,
interrupt. It cuts across everything they do. If if
mm,
if you're organized at home, you'll be organized at work. It will
at
show
school.
the
Mm,
skills. The skills, even as they mature and they start going to work and all of that, they would know how to. people would see that, this is different.
Mm,
There's,
it's
there's
true.
that air of maturity,
Yes,
and there's that
definitely.
confidence. you
Mm,
know it is important. Yeah.
yeah, you're definitely right. Honestly, I pray people will take you on board. Many things just flood into mind as we are having this conversation, because on Sunday night I still got an allegation. I was like, okay, so what's the plan for Monday morning, because this week is a different week in our routine. So I basically said to my young man, I said, so young man, what's the plan for Monday? And he's supposed to be somewhere for 10 o'clock. And he said he's leaving home, or he's catching the train at 7:20. And I say, waiting, they chasing
Uh-uh.
you. Uh-uh. You told me the journey is only
The
an
boy
hour and a
has
half.
learned.
Yeah, I said, you said the journey is only 1.5 hours. So what is with this thing? He said, you are the one that is always. So do you want me to arrive
Don't be
10 on the time?
late.
You are the one that is always telling me I should arrive before, this kind of thing. And I said, okay, it's true. I'm the one. He said, I still need to find the place. I need to make sure I'm there on time.
Which
Again,
is a
so
fantastic skill, honestly.
exactly. Exactly. So
It
I mean, if
is.
somebody is throwing back your word at you, you've got to step back. So
Oh, yes.
you got to step back. Sister Folakemi, we've taken so much of your time. We're 20
It's a
minutes
pleasure.
over. Um, I think, honestly, if we can, I know you're so busy, but if we can get you more than once, I think it would be advantageous to us to be able to
Yes.
cover
To
more
split the
grounds.
rest into two. Yes.
To be able
Because
to
we've
cover.
done 3 slides today, basically.
Really, but it feels a lot more, because we looked at it like you said, those major skills, especially when you're taking us from 19 downwards, as to this is what they should have had and they should be showing. So basically, like I said, with the questionnaire, so if you haven't filled the questionnaire or you haven't requested for it, you can still ask me for it. So depending on the age of your child, request for the questionnaire, so you will know where you can help your child, or your child is already doing what he or she is supposed to be doing. I think I'm correct with what I said. So and that's why
Yeah.
we're going through this, isn't it? So we
Yeah.
have an idea, and if we need help, we can reach out and say, basically, okay, it looks like I've fallen short in this area. So what do I need to plug in? What do I need to be doing in order to bring that young man or that young lady to where they should be at that level? Am I correct?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you. Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome,
Thank you.
sis. Thank you,
So
everybody.
you're welcome. So we'll see you very soon, God willing, by the grace of
Bye.
God. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, that is Sister Folakemi, everybody. Like I said, I've been displaying, and it's still displayed on the screen, where you can connect with her. Please, by all means, like I said, look, the earth is of the Lord and the fullness thereof. Sister Folakemi is also a sister. Feel free, reach out to her. Like I told you, she's on Facebook, she's on YouTube, 2 pages on Facebook, 2 pages on Instagram. One is personal, the other one is for what she does. She's very much into teenagers and children, and she's always putting posts out about confidence, self-esteem, all sorts of things the parents go through with their teenager. So by all means, like I said, reach out to her, encourage the work that she's doing in any way, shape, or form that you want. Like I said, I don't have a problem. Anybody you see on this platform and you want to be a part of what they're doing, please go for it. 100% go for it. All I'm just saying is, if you're taking a service, the Bible say a laborer is worthy of his wages. Treat them well. Don't go asking for freebies, please. If they decide to give it to you, to God be the glory. But please, I as children of God, I'm just saying, let's maintain a standard. a level, a standard, decorum. Let's do what is right, not just, oh, that mentality, part of what we're talking about, that mentality, I've always got to negotiate everything, I've always got to beat something down. No, why don't we be different? Even if they call it £10, why don't we pay like 12? Why don't we pay 11? Those kind of thing. God will help us, instead of always beating down the price. And we always feel this entitlement that, oh, since they Nigerian, I'm Nigerian, they Ghanaian, I'm Ghanaian, they black, I'm black, and oh, they're in UK, so we're spending pounds. So please don't do that. As children of God, please don't do it. It's not befitting at all. It's not. We wouldn't go and do that to an Asian. We wouldn't go that out and do that to another ethnicity. We wouldn't. They call it £5. We buy it £5 and we'll move on. And we'll even be grateful and recommend other people as well. So if Sister Folakemi is being a blessing to you, I mean, like I said, she does that professionally, and she's been in the teaching profession for over 20 years. Okay, so everybody, as always, I'm saying thank you. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Sister Yomzi, good to have you on board. Hope your weather in Canada is okay. Sorry about that. Everybody, yes, tomorrow, Canada, we've got Pastor Olaide from Edmonton, Canada. Pastor Olaide, Edmonton in Canada. He's going to be with us. We're starting a new mini series, Grace, Legalism and Libertinism. I think those three, we're going to be taking it one step at a time. So if you haven't met Pastor Laide yet, please come tomorrow by the grace of God. So everybody, as always, I'm saying thank you. I'm grateful for your time, and I'm going to leave you in the most capable hands of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Take care and see you soon, everybody.